the first game was a little rough. I think we came out a little flat. We didn't adjust until, the last inning or two. That's when we were really hitting the ball, but it was just too little too late. And then in the second game, we jumped out on them early, and we got up 4-1, and then they made a comeback, and then we started swinging the bats again and scored a few more runs in that inning and took the lead and eventually took the win, so that was good. I mean, the small game is important, because the fences here are super high and the wind is coming directly in towards home plate. So, a couple people had shots that would have been home runs had the wind been differently. So, you have to adjust and change and go for the small ball and throw some bunts in there when they're not expecting it. I was nervous, I'll admit. I was a little nervous, but I think it was a good nervous. I think it was an excited nervous, coming into my last season. I just want to have fun and do the best that I can. And I know some of the younger girls were freaking out a little bit, but they held it together pretty well, and I think we did pretty well for the first day. I mean, I'm trying not to think when I get in the box. I'm seeing the ball really well, and I'm trying to be aggressive, and I don't want to change that. So I'm trying not to think about it too much and just going out and having fun and doing my job, doing what's best for the team. It's going to be intense. I think if we bring our A game, we're definitely going to be in there with them. I by no means think they're going to blow us out. So just going to come out and play hard and be aggressive.
My thoughts about the first game is North Texas was beatable. I felt like we could beat them. I knew that the hardest thing that we were going to face was probably their pitching staff, because their pitching staff are veterans. They had a lot of new faces in the lineup, so I felt like we could beat them offensively. My concern was whether we would adjust at the plate, and I felt like at times we struggled. I felt like we didn't have a sense of urgency about making something happen until the end, and then we hit like we should have been hitting the entire game. And so we talked from that first game and going into the second game about having a sense of urgency earlier in the game. Like, we're down, it's got to happen, somebody's got to come through, so that they would, approach the game different offensively. We gave the girl a little bit too much respect, if you ask me. So my plan was to come in and beat down two teams today, and that was my mentality, and that's what I wanted, and that's what I talked to them about, and that was how we approached it. But I felt like we were a little bit passive at times at the plate. We had 3 errors on the day. I don't like that either. I don't think that that's going to be, I think it's going to be costly. And so I thought that Ellen threw okay. I think she struggled a little bit with the umpires. They held her to a very, very tight zone. I don't believe that she was beat mentally. I thought that she threw okay, but there were, a few pitches that could have been better. The second game, I thought that, Jordan she threw well in the pen before the game, and it just didn't carry over onto the field. She just didn't hold command of the field. And then, Sarah, we were expecting, to be able to see a change and a little bit of momentum shift, and I didn't feel like she grabbed it either. And I think both of them feel like that's a fair assessment about how they pitched. And luckily, Ellen was able to come in and, and hold things down once we were ahead and give us an opportunity to stay in the game. And, I thought that we were better offensively. We were up and down still, but, we're trying to feel out who's going to step up in game situation. We don't really know that until we get here. And so I'm thankful we were able to get a win on today. I expected 2. Disappointed we didn't get 2, but I am appreciative of the win, and I think that we're just building. We're building to get better and better, and I think that in comparison to maybe looking back from this time last year, I think that we have more athleticism throughout our lineup, and I think that we'll be able to go places if we grow. We were aggressive. We just worked on executing, and we didn't try to make it too big of a thing to accomplish. We just focused on that, and we were aggressive on the bases, and I like that. That's the game I like to play. We just don't always play it that way, and so, I was definitely pleased with us coming out and trying to figure out ways to push runs across and force errors, and I think if we can continue to do that, there's no doubt we can be successful. It's nice to see some upper class maturity. I'm pleased with that. That's what we hope to see. I think some of our younger kids are going to come around, some of those who haven't seen a lot of game time. I think that they'll settle in and they'll be okay. But I'm definitely pleased with my upper class. I think that they're leading by example, and they're going out there and playing the game hard. And, Lonnie definitely wasn't satisfied with her Game 1 performance, and neither was I. And I told her as much because, she's supposed to be a tempo setter, and I believe she can do that for us. We believe that she earned the #1 spot. Now she's got to make sure that she can hang on to it. So, it's in their hands about who's going to play and how we're going to do. It's up to them, and there's definitely some talent there. I just want to see some consistency.